is an ESPN special presentation.
St. Andrews, the home of golf, where for over 800 years Scotsmen have played the game, where old Tom Morris learned to be a champion and taught his son young Tom and the citizens of Fife his love and knowledge of the game, where Jock Hutchison became the first American to win the British Open, and where Bobby Jones won a leg of his Grand Slam. 35 years ago, a young American champion with old Tom's love of the game and mindful of the feats of Hutchison and Jones came to Scotland to match Jones's slam. Arnold Palmer believed he had to win at the home of golf. Others followed Arnold's lead. And for 25 years, Americans dominated the world of golf as never before. But in recent times, golfers from other lands have taken charge. Not since 1989 has an American held the claret jug. This year, the King has come back to the old course at St. Andrews, declaring this his last British Open. But younger Americans are eager to walk in the paths of Arnold's glory. Tom Watson, the winner of 5 British Opens, but never at St. Andrews, was told by Jack Nicklaus, "You need to win one here." Corey Pavin made the U.S. Open in June his first major. He has the skills to tame the old course and the heart to win. And Ben Crenshaw, this year's Masters champion and golf historian, would be a British Open winner to make old Tom proud. ESPN and the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St. Andrews proudly present live second-round coverage of the 124th British Open. St. Andrews, Scotland, what a sight. An ancient city born back in the Middle Ages, about 800 A.D. Now 14,000 Scots in about 5 square miles. Home of the Royal and Ancient. And here on this hallowed ground, one of their adopted own, Arnold Palmer, the Open champion in 61 and 62, teed off at about 8:35 this morning, right there on the first tee for the very last time. He played the outward 9 along the North Sea. Here's how it looks. A rather benign beginning, but beware, don't get greedy. And as you approach what looks like that Shepherd's Crook, it's called the Loop, holes 7 through 12, where 7 and 11 actually crisscross, where par for the Loop is 22. But more than 20 should be a disappointing score. The Loop is where Curtis Strange birdied every hole back in 1987, en route to his course record 10 under par, 62. Some of the nuances. Then you head on the inward 9, highlighted, of course, by the hardest hole here, certainly the most notorious. It's the road hole. It cost Watson the title back in the 80s. Lost out to Seve after he hit the road. The road bunker, if you're in it, you simply can't see out of it. Jack Nicklaus was there yesterday. Got up and down, though, with an amazing bunker shot to salvage his par. And as the flags flutter, St. Andrews, this golf course actually embraces the wind, always part of the legacy of the Open Championship. There's the leaderboard as things stand right now. John Daly and Brad Faxon, a couple of Yanks, are in at 6 under par. Bill Glasson also tied for the lead with the road hole left to play. Tamori is in, tied for the top spot as well. Our friend from Japan, Ernie Els, the former U.S. Open champion, trails by 1. Crenshaw just finished up a second ago. After an even par 72, he had that 5 under 67 yesterday. John Cook, who tossed away the title a couple of years back in the hunt, he trails by 1, along with another American, Mark Brooks, Constantino Rocca. He is 5 under par through 13. And Tom Watson got off to a shaky start with a double bogey early in his second round. Corey Pavin, the U.S. Open champion, has picked up 1 shot after yesterday's opening 3 under par 69. And Payne Stewart in the house after 36 holes at -4. Early action. This is Nick Faldo. A 2 over 74 yesterday, but for Nick, a 33 on the front side. Second shot out of the par 4-12. He had just birdied at 10 to get it to 2 under par. Then a birdie try here at 12. Fanny gets out of the way, and this is for Faldo to go to 3 under par in the championship. How about former U.S. amateur champion from Toledo, Ohio, John Cook? 3 under as this day dawned. Here he is at number 1 to go to 4 under par. Fast start for the man with 6 tour titles to his credit. He won 3 times in '92. He won the Hope, he won Hawaii, and in Las Vegas. Then at number 2. From just off the putting surface, but with that magic wand to go to 5 under. Back-to-back birdies at 1 and 2. John Cook quickly to go 5 under. Faldo, of course, far from finished. 3 under at this point. 5 under on the day. Third shot out at 14. This is a par 5 hole. So Faldo in excellent shape to knock another stroke off par. Rolling, rolling. Finally stops about 14 feet from the flag. So Nick, former British Open champion, to go to 4 under. He was just 1 off the lead at that point. Again, this is earlier action. John Daly, a terrific start yesterday, a 5 under 67. He double bogeyed the 5th hole. The old John Daly might have packed it in at that point, but he came back and he birdied 10. Then at the par 3 11. 5 under. Then at 12, Long John. He drove the green. This was his second shot, but he actually drove the green over at 6. Shared green here. There are 7 of them. And if you add up the numbers, they add up to 18. Like 12 and 6. So then he had that left for a birdie to go to -6. Like I said, the old John Daly might have packed it in after a double bogey, but he's a little more mature now. Daly 6 under and in the lead. Bill Glasson 4 under yesterday. His birdie putt to tie for the top spot at the turn. And that won the Phoenix Open last year. He's 6 under par. And how about the young man out of Furman, Brad Faxon, had a 71 yesterday. Hasn't won since '92 at the International. Second shot here at the home hole. Driving up and through the Valley of Sin, up there to within 12 feet. This for a 5 under 67 on his second round. Tie at 6 under for the lead. -6 for Faxon. Halfway through the Open. And another U.S. amateur champion, Justin Leonard. He was the amateur champ back in '92. Tied for second at the Western earlier this year. Second shot at the par 5 14th. Watch it roll now. Should it go in, it would be a double eagle 2. Rolling, rolling. What a marvelous golf shot. Just barely missed on the double eagle, but he tapped in. Leonard, who started the day at +1, quickly goes to -4. Daly at 14 missed his eagle, but John had a tap in to go back to -6. Birdies at 10, 11, 12, and 14. Back to 6 under. A friend from Japan with 5 wins on the Japanese PGA Tour, Tamori. Playing in just his 3rd British Open. His birdie putt at 16. Tamori goes to 6 under par. He would par in at 17 and 18. And on the tee at the road hole. Tied for the top spot with Daly, Bill Glasson. Whoops. That's right of right. Out of bounds off the tee, would suffer an 8 here at 17. And we talked about Ben Crenshaw here at the 18th. Struggled a bit after that 67 yesterday. This for a round of 72 to finish up at even par today, but still in the hunt at 5 under par. Tough to win 1 major, hard to win 2 in the same year. Already the champion at Augusta. So let's check the leaderboard in our live second round coverage. Daly is in at 6 under par. Likewise, Brad Faxon. Tamori has finished up a solid second round, all at 6 under. Watson, after that double bogey, has rebounded. Ernie Els at 5 under. Crenshaw's in the house. And John Cook, good solid second round, started out birdie at 1 and 2. Mark Brooks having a great second round as well. Corey Pavin shaved 1 stroke off par after yesterday's opening round of 69. And Payne Stewart tuned up well last week at Kings Mill. He's in the hunt, only 2 back with 2 rounds to go. Justin Leonard, the former U.S. amateur champion, right there. knocking on the door, and Faldo has finished up at 3 under. Other Americans that have come across, they're playing very well. Nicholson, the left-hander, 3 under par. David Duval. Jim Gallagher lost a stroke. He opened up with a 69 yesterday. Glasson, we have detailed. We'll follow him home. Brian Watts, 2 under par after 13. Gene Sowers is in at 2 under. Raymond Floyd, even par, has yet to tee off. There are about half a dozen of the seniors here. Raymond Floyd, Tom Argo, all shooting even par, 72 yesterday. And missing on that leaderboard, former British Open champion 3 times, Jack Nicklaus, currently at 4 over par. So as we welcome you to our live second-round coverage, hi again, everybody. It's a pleasure to be on board with our colleague Peter Ellis. I've got to needle you a bit, my British stalwart. There are 11 of the top names on the leaderboard. 11 of the top 14 are Yanks.
I know. Have you seen all the flags at half-mast?
We have.
All through the town.
Quite a change from last year.
They're all shaking their heads. They're bark, they're saying.
Last year, we were ever wondering if an American would ever win a major again. I mean, you've got to go back to '89 to find the last time that Americans won 3 of the 4 majors. '82 was the last time the Yanks swept all 4.
Yes, but I don't think I've ever seen a championship, certainly here, where so many players are within 3 or 4, 5 shots. I mean, it's quite extraordinary. And the way the lead seesawed this morning, one time I think we had 8 players at 5 under. Now we've got, 2, 3 players at 6 under. So it's going to be, the 10-shot rule is going to be a big factor here. But I think we could have an awful lot of people playing over the weekend, because if 6 under stays the best score, that'll bring it down to 138. So 148 would qualify. If you took the normal way of assessing who would play, it was round about par or 1 over. So there could be an awful lot of players. There's only the 1 cut. There used to be 2 cuts years ago. They used to have a cut to the 3rd round, and then they'd knock another 12 or 14 players off for the last round. But not so this time. 70 and ties will go through. But I think we could get very close to 100 players if certain things happen. But there's a long way to go yet.
Stick around. We want to get your impressions. Peter's already been on the air for about 4 hours over with our friends at the BBC. They start early over here. And speaking of early, all those times as we check some of the featured pairings, those are East Coast, New York City time, if you will. Just tack on 5 hours if you want to figure out what time it is over here in Scotland. Glasson, Suzuki went off at 4:40 New York time. Cook, Mickelson, and the Swede, 5:35. Jacobson, he backed up a bit, paired with Ernie Els and the reigning United States amateur champion Tiger Woods. Pavin, Longer, and Frost, Gallagher, Zinger, and V.J. Singh. Good pairing there. And Watson, as I said, suffered a double bogey. What a pairing that is, with a British amateur champion, Gordon Sherry, all 6-8 of him. Besides Peter Ellis, as always, Brent Musburger is on board, Steve Melnick, Gary Koch will join us a little while, and Frank Hannigan on board handling the rulings and some special interviews. Out on the golf course, with the wind swirling here in this 24th British Open, we are joined by the likes of Bob Rosberg, and Judy Rankin, of course, is here, and Mark Rolfing. Ernie Els, 5 under par, second shot Peter at 13.
Yes, he's made very good progress today, and we know he's a very good player. But this is a strange course. I mean, it's unusual. It's eccentric. Just look at that. You see that we've seen shots that perhaps looked as good as that and end up 90 feet past the hole. You've got to just sort of tiptoe your way through, miss those bunkers. Wonderful names like Cat's Trap and Coffins and Cheap's Bunker, and all those things are waiting. And sometimes you can get in them, and you wonder how on earth you're ever going to get out. We saw that yesterday with Nicklaus, 3rd shot of Tiger Woods. This is a good experience for him. He's took a 7, a triple bogey or double bogey early on in the game, but it's all a learning process for the youngster. And from my point of view, it's nice to see the amateurs that have qualified doing so well. Of course, 98% of them are British. Look at that. You don't need to do much wrong. If you chip that, it sort of helps the putting enormously. But the amateurs are showing well. We've got a very good-looking leaderboard, some fresh faces, some new names. We could have a new champion.
What's amazing is you talk to people like Corey Pavin. The first time they come here, they're not impressed. The second time, it's a good golf course. By the time they played it the 3rd time, St. Andrews indeed.
And presentation of the 1995 British Open is brought to you by the incredible I-30 from Infinity. Flagship styling, space, and performance for around $30,000. And by Lynx, makers of the new Black Cat Iron with stability weighting.
Slightly past 2:15 here in Scotland. Curtis Strange doesn't go off until about 3:25. He wondered with us yesterday what he was going to do all day. How about practice? Scott Simpson alongside a couple of the Yanks. They'll be teeing off until late in the day. It stays daylight over here until almost 10 o'clock at night, and they played until about 9:30 last night. Peter Allis on board, and a pleasure to welcome back Brent Musburger.
Jimmy, thank you very much. And Constantino Rocca, he's at 5 under here and making a bold move as the tournament now, Peter, starting to take shape.
Yes, it's a whole new ball game once you get the first 36 holes over. That really wasn't a very good shot, but there's so many runs and bumps here that it's difficult sometimes to get it near the flag. Here's Els, who has managed to get it near the flag at the 13th. This for a birdie. I think he could be a danger man, young Els. He hasn't been showing too much form over the last few weeks, but suddenly looks good again.
Well, a lot of stories to catch up with. Brad Faxon with a birdie and a 67. And there's the Masters champion, Ben Crenshaw, only one off that lead. He's with our Frank Hannigan. Frank?
Mr. Crenshaw, he hit 5 under. Nice going. Conditions today? Conditions are a little tougher today, Frank. I was happy to get what I got, and in a lot of instances, you can leave yourself a lot of approach putting to do on a day like this. Surface is dried out, and very difficult to get your seconds in there close. You're going to used to resign yourself that you're going to have some 6- and 7-foot putts, either to save par a lot of times, and I got a few down. I didn't approach putt as well as I'd like, but didn't strike the ball quite as well, but it was a tougher day, but it's tough to get around there in spots. As we're on for 5 hours, what should our viewers look for, maybe on the background? What's particularly scary? Any particular shot that you worry about? When you come over some of the contours, and when they put the pins, they have some beautiful pins. I don't care how close that you can drive it to the 12th green. It's the most beautiful green. You're always very worried on your second, whether it's a little putt or a little chip and run. It's so elusive. You can go easily short or easily just right through and over again, but 11's one of the great par 3s in the world. It's playing very tough today. It's pretty much into your face. I had to hit a 4-iron and didn't quite get up. A lot of it just elusive playing holes today. Well, now you're now a very renowned and successful architect. Suppose you were called in as a consultant. What changes would you make on this golf course? Oh, I wouldn't change a thing. I'm fascinated about playing the contours. The contours are the golf course. I think they're beautifully presented. They cut the contours right down and just let it play. It's beautiful. Well, you're a great man on these romantic occasions, Mr. Crenshaw. Thanks for coming by. Back to Fred. Thanks, Frank.
Well, now we go out to the 4th tee, and here's a trio that has made some headlines already today. We watch here now Greg Norman, 2 under for the championship. He's in the group that includes Tom Watson. Powerful-looking swing there. The 6'8" amateur Sherry also strides off down the fairway. Watson, who was one of our leaders after yesterday with that splendid 67, double bogeyed the first hole. Then he went birdie, and moments ago on videotape, this is tee shot at the 4th. So Tom Watson is back at 5 under par. So what a 5-hour broadcast we have coming for you. You're going to be watching Watson as he makes his way around. And now, Peter, let's go to Rocca and see if he can nail this birdie and join those at the top.
No, he's not renowned as a great putter, but he's a good, solid player. He's a deceptive player, Rocca. He looks as if he's sort of come out of every shot. His right shoulder rides up as he hits the ball, but he's a good hitter. And John Cook, second at the 14th.
Hit a big drive, just playing an iron into the green, trying to run it in there. Straight downwind right now.
There you go. The 14th and the 4th goes up on the right-hand side as the players go out on the first 9, and you can see all those little traps and the little trackway sort of between the birdies and Hell Bunker, the different color green. That's a slope, a bank, which you can just fall off, and you can end up in quite long grass with the ball sort of almost opposite your nose as you try and hack down the fairway. Then all the bunkers round about hell come into play, and grave bunker. Everywhere you go, you can get into trouble. But here's Glasson at the 18th for a birdie, left it short, so the wheels really came off for him on the last 2 or 3 holes. The game is never finished here until he walked off the 18th green. A number of times we've seen players in good position dropping a stroke or not getting a birdie at the 18th, and if you had to pick an easy hole to get a forearm for your life, if you think you could play a bit, it would be the 18th at St Andrews. But
yeah, Peter, it was the 17th that claimed him. He took an 8.
Yeah,
he was going on about his business, and suddenly the road hole claimed another victim as Glasson was deadlocked for the top. And now we see that Ernie Els, still on the course, has joined those at 6 under par. Tamari of Japan has also completed his round today. Justin Leonard with a splendid round. And Mark Brooks is now at 5 under, 16th. This is the second shot for Brooks.
Still a lot of work to do over these closing holes. It's only 382 yards, but as Ben Crenshaw was saying, the greens are so subtly worked out. You see, he's gone where Faldo went earlier. Faldo, in fact, was a little bit further through the green than that. Now he's left with a very difficult chip, and the two-dimensional camera effect doesn't show you really the amount of slope between that ball and the flag. Very difficult, and can be, of course, very annoying when you're used to target golf and everything in pristine condition. Costantino Rocca, 15th, 2 under today. This is, you have to say, the 15th at 413 yards is a hole where there are quite a number of birdies scored, and you can see the ball skipping and running. You know, on many golf courses, you see somebody drive and you can follow it running down the fairway. Here it goes out of sight, it comes up again, and it swings away and disappears. It's really something very special and unique.
Certainly a reachable par 5 for Ernie today, and he hammered this one.
Now, up on the green area here is John Cook, his 3rd shot.
It lacked about a foot of being perfect. A very difficult shot, blasting up into the wind. I think it's a lot harder today out here, Brent, than it was yesterday. The wind is blowing a little different direction. The front 9 is going to play a lot tougher today. It's going to play directly into the wind. The back 9, hard to stop the ball. Anytime you're going downwind and you're coming straight downwind all the way in.
Now, let me help those of you who are watching all the scores in alphabetical order. Right now, the computer projects the cut at 4 over. However, remember, Ernie Els at 6 under right now. There is the 10-shot rule, so he could dictate whether or not the plus 4s will indeed make it. One of the great stories there happens to be Jack Nicklaus. You know the story of him reaching the hell bunker with his 2nd on 14 yesterday, taking a 10. Well, following that embarrassing 10 on 14, Jack Nicklaus has played at 4 under, and he stands right now at 4 over par. And if this cut projection holds up, Jack Nicklaus would play on the weekend. I think it tells you something, Peter, about his desire and character, the way he hung in there following that disaster.
Yes, he played very well today. Greg Norman, 2nd shot at the 4th. And the prediction is that the wind may get a little stronger as the afternoon goes by, and there could be a little shower, rather like we had last evening. Els and Jacobson at the 14th. They're playing together along with Tiger Woods today. Rocker at the 15th, 2nd shot. See, very lofted. Just throws the ball up in the air, as Bob Rosberg was saying. It's a job to get the ball to stop, but he's managed to do it beautifully. Too much so, in fact. As you can see the flag, they're really beginning to whistle. Brooks. This is not an easy little chip. You can just land it. You think right, and the bank, just where the green begins, there's quite a steep bank there, and it can kill the ball. Like that. That's what can make you annoyed about this place. And they talk about architecture. One or two of the old pros over the years made certain suggestions and perhaps reshaped some of the bunkers. But basically the course just happened. That's the amazing thing about it. And it's a municipal course. It's open to the public to play. It's quite an amazing place. It's Mickelson in the white sweater. He's got a putt for a birdie, playing with Johansson from Sweden. One of the group of young Swedish players who are coming on a ton.
Former college teammates at Arizona State. And there we see Sherry. What a story he is. As an amateur, he is 3 under par right now.
Because we had an amateur this morning, Steve Webster, who was leading the championship for a moment this morning. He was out in 32 this morning and actually the leader. Young boy of 19. That's what I say. It's Adam Tillman. He's, in fact, the tallest man in the field. He's the one that's nearly 6'9". Now, you see why this happens here with the holes going up and down and shared greens. There's somebody, if the camera could look away to the right, you'll see that there's somebody putting out or driving, and that's what causes play to be slow here. We tend to be a bit super critical about the pace of play these days, but St Andrews is not the easiest place to watch golf, and when you get a lot of competitors playing, it's not the easiest place to play because you're always sort of just waiting perhaps for somebody else to putt out so you don't distract them. No.
We're going to take you back now and fill you in on the story involving Jack Nicklaus yesterday. His second shot here on the par 5 into the held bunker. So he had no more than a 9-iron up to the green, and it was not a particularly difficult lie, as you can see. A man of his ability makes this shot. Now watch what happens. And suddenly it's disaster because you can see how close he went to the bank in anger. And as someone wrote, it wasn't really just tossing the club. It was the fastest way to get the club back into the hands of the caddy. So Jack now walked over, and this is where it began.
Yes, he couldn't play at the flag with the first one. He was aiming down the left-hand side. He fancied he could get enough elevation to get it out of the bunker, and you saw it ricochet over here. Now, this is a very steep face in front of him, and again, he gives it a stab, but it hits the bank, and it does the same thing again. Now, even Jack, by this time, would be getting a little hot under the collar. This time, he tries, but fails again, and now you can see he's almost hitting it in continuous motion. Comes out, ends up with a 10.
So he takes that number, but then up ahead, here he is, the road hole bunker, and watch, because here's a man who had a lot of practice.
It's pretty deep, and of course the picture came from the little miniature camera that's been built into the front right side of the bunker, and he gives it a little rueful smile.
Determined character he is. Getting up and down at the road hole, and now, Peter, he could be playing over the weekend. We wouldn't have thought that yesterday following the 14th, would we?
I still think the 10-shot rule is going to be very crucial here. It depends whether somebody can come in better than 6 under. Brooks now, having chipped short, has come to here. So this for a 5, and with the wind sweeping across the green. The greens are by no means lightning fast. When you talk about fast greens, you're talking about Augusta or the USGA specifications. But if they were that fast here, you wouldn't be able to play because the balls would just be blown about all the time. But it can affect the run of the ball. That's well done. See, a good drive and a good-looking second shot just got in the wrong place, left him with a very difficult little chip, which he couldn't negotiate, and he drops a shot.
Now, this is Tom Watson's third shot on the 4.
Go on. Yeah. All right, Tom.
So we have 4 tied for the lead, including 2 Americans, Long John Daly and Brad Faxon with a Steen. And Peter, I think it just fits right in. It's like it's been there for decades.
Yes, it's been long needed, because perhaps people don't realize that when you came to play golf as a visitor at St Andrews, if you weren't with a member of the club or one of the other clubs here, you had nowhere to change. There were some public toilets at the back, which weren't the most romantic place to take your shoes and socks off in. So eventually they've made this very expensive club, which is very nice indeed, and that's where, if you ever come to St Andrews, you will be directed as a visitor to change, have lunch and have a drink and tell your usual stories. Watson now with one of the dreaded lengths. Shouldn't keep saying that, should we really? He missed one shorter than this on the first. Took 6. Not that time though, well done. Got off to a 6 and came back with a 6 and then birdied the next 2. Gets a par, looks good. Else's second shot at the longest hole on the course, the 14th.
Playing very short right now, though, just 210 yards for a second.
Well, there you see the big difference between golf over here and in the United States. As we watch Nick Price, the defending champion, won it at Turnberry. Peter, a lot of the fellas say that the United States, once the ball lands, they quit worrying about it. And over here, as soon as it touches the ground, that's when they start worrying about it.
Well, only on this type of golf. You see, we have links type golf, and we have what we call parkland course, which is grass and trees. I mean, the sort of courses that you would play most of the tournaments on in the United States. Trees and grass. That's the hazards, and a few ponds and lakes around the place. And then you've got downland courses, which are up on top of the hills, no trees. The old birds fly backwards up there to keep the dirt out of their eyes. It's so breezy, and you really have a tremendous job to keep the ball going. So you have basically those 3, and then you've got the heather and pine, the Sunningdales, and that type of thing. So you have different types, but on the links courses, no fairway watering, by the sea, wind blowing. You've got to learn to conjure up a few funny little shots to keep your score together.
Michael Campbell from New Zealand, Maori, 1 under par when he starts today. Now, Peter, looks like this could be a long way off for some of these double graves.
The longest putt I've seen today was John Daly at the 13th. He was at the 13th and the 6th. Now, Tiger's pulled his second shot way, way, way. Now, he may have to negotiate a bunker in his way, or the back of a bunker, so he's probably 50, 60 yards. He could be 150, 200 feet maybe from the hole. And this is the sort of situation that slows down play. He's only a few feet from the other hole, so the players, if there are any coming there, they'll wait for him to get out of the way. They're playing the 4th. So it's all...
Peter, you said that John Cook's putt was the longest putt you had seen today. This is the longest putt I have ever seen.
Oh, did I say Cook? John Daly, I meant. John Daly, I said.
I actually tried to walk this putt off to get some sort of a sense of the distance. I would estimate it at 180 feet.
There you are, and you're a good judge of distance.
I don't think the bunker is going to be too big a problem. He definitely has to go right of it, just slightly, but the slope should bring the ball back.
Eccentric. That was a very good description of St. Andrews. If an architect were to design this golf course today, they would drum him completely out of business. Folks, it's the romance that sells it here.
They certainly wouldn't pay him. But the 5th and the 13th is the biggest green area. That's just over an acre.
A 15-foot second putt here wouldn't be too bad.
and let's go to John as he gets ready here. He is a 2 under par for the day, 5 under for the championship, so he is 1 off the lead, and playing in a group that includes the left-hander, Phil Mickelson.
Mickelson will play first. He's 155 yards from the hole. Actually, a left-hander, probably a little easier shot. He can hold it into the wind. Wind coming out of the right and behind. Has a slight uphill lie.
That's a pretty good result, really. He won't be able to see it from where he is.
Now, Peter Jacobsen, who has struggled today. This would be an eagle. Get it to drop. He'll get a birdie. He is on that cut line. He's in a battle right now to make it at 5 over. And here's John Cooks.
That's from 150. John trying to hold it into the wind with a cut. Pretty good looking shot.
Now Ernie Els, and he could certainly dictate the travel plans for a lot of golfers today. Tied for the lead right now with the 10-shot rule in effect here at the British Open Championship. And this for an eagle, so certainly he's a huge favorite to get to at least 7 under par right now.
He really has played magnificently. In fact, he and Peter Jacobsen started the day tied. He has played 10 shots better than Peter to this point. Very fast putt here, straight downwind.
Well, I think there's no question that the bookmakers who are legal over here would install Ernie Els as the favorite right now, even though he is tied for the championship. If you look at that leaderboard, Ernie Els is going to be a tough hombre the rest of the way in this British Open Championship.
At St. Andrews in 1921, he walked the course in reverse so he could better see the hazards. And hazards they are, with bases of stacked sod just redone for this year's Open.
It had been 7 long years since Greg Norman captured the British Open title. In 1993, he threatened again. With a round to go, Nick Faldo, the defending champion, led by 1. But Norman rallied to the occasion. He torched the course, punctuated by this spectacular approach to 9. The Open Championship was Norman's again. Another British Open golden moment.
Well, he's gone wide right. That's about as good as he could do from there. That's pretty good play. Brooke was having a very good year on the European Tour. Brooke has started out the day at 3 under, birdied 2, another birdie at 5 and 7. 5 under and 1 shot off the lead. Tamori in earlier. 5 wins on the Japanese Tour. Had that 4 under par 68. Faxon and Els, today's best round so far, along with the 1992 U.S. Amateur champion Justin Leonard. Almost had that double eagle at 14. We'll take a timeout. Right now we've got a 4-way tie for the lead, but a lot of golf to go here in our live second round coverage of the Open from Scotland. Well, that is Nick Faldo on the practice ground with his Boswell, better known as David Ledbetter. There's some players who play by feel. Others like to place the club in position, play more mechanically. I think Nick Faldo is somewhere in between, but he works awfully hard on his mechanics. Fanny Sunison always present. It's nice to have a caddy who understands proper setup, proper posture as we go out to 11, and Corey Pavin.
par 3, it plays 169 yards today. The wind back into the player's face, moving slightly from the left. Corey has a 5-iron, and it's all of it. Well, he's hit it very low and well to the right.
And has his work cut out for him, Judy.
Be a monstrous putt.
Now, Greg Norman. This is at the par 4 6th. You know, Norman almost didn't tee up in this championship, complained about a bad back. He spent last week at a castle in northern Scotland preparing for this championship. Didn't play a practice round on Wednesday. Actually took, 7 weeks off after the Masters, right? Yes, he did. Yes, indeed. As you check the leaderboard, let's take you back to about 8:30 local time here in Scotland this morning.
That's what I meant.
And then, about 4.5 hours later, on the tee at 18, the home hole here at St. Andrews. This was Arnold Palmer, 2-time British Open champion, on the tee at 18 for the final time. They were stacked about 10 and 12 deep, just outside the fence on both sides. Nothing left in the bag with that swing ever. As Palmer crunched it here at 18. Arnie teed off at about 8:35, and that was the scene at 18. It was the scene at number 1. Hardly a dry eye in the house. And this was the scene as Mr. Palmer walked over the bridge for the last time. Kind of like Custer. Applause to the left of me, applause to the right of me, applause engulfing me. There was even an encore. He went back to the bridge one more time and doffed his cap. And then a standing ovation. Just like at Oakmont. So much emotion you could feel it. Then this was Arnold's second shot. The galleries were bulging. Quite a moment, Steve.
Well, it's a well-deserved, very special tribute to a very special man.
Tom Watson has said Arnold is simply the greatest promoter of golf in the world. This was Arnie's shot, ran it past, and then the man that, well, probably elevated this from a regional event into the #1 golf tournament in the world, arguably. Who better to look back than the man who was there in the early 60s, our ABC colleague and friend Jim McKay.
The 1960 British Open at St. Andrews was the Centenary Open, and the young Arnold Palmer made his first trip across the ocean. Even then, the Scottish crowds sensed that there was something special about the reigning Masters and U.S. Open champion going for the fabled Grand Slam. Fittingly, he finished in typical Palmer style with a 33 at the home hole. Unfortunately, he would come up one shot short, finishing second in the championship, but his impact on the Open would last forever. He would be remembered longer than the winner, Australian Kel Nagle. The next year, the Open was held in England at Royal Birkdale near the grimy port city of Liverpool, which had recently become known as the birthplace of 4 long-haired young men called the Beatles. The English crowd took to Palmer just as the Scots had at St. Andrews. They walked every step of the way with him, the British division of Arnie's army. But Arnie didn't just come for adulation, he came to win. He led most of the way in foul weather and won over the wee Welshman, Di Reese, by a single shot, the first American to win since Ben Hogan. 1962, Troon, the Palmers back in Scotland. He's the defending champion now, in marvelous form, and in the end would set a new scoring record. It was a ceremonial march to victory when he reached the final hole. I was there to do the commentary.
Pretty noisy.
It seems like yesterday.
Little 9-iron for Arnold, and the crowd engulfs him just after he hit the ball. Neither Nagel or Palmer are in sight right now. They're lost in this crowd. Here he comes. He made it.
In those days, Arnold always seemed to save something special for the final hole, like this. With typical Palmer flair, the birdie putt gave him his second and last British Open title. That opened the floodgates. More Americans would come every year from then on.
This was Arnold's putt for par at 18. Here at St. Andrews, at the British Open, a tournament he captured twice. He elevated this tournament single-handedly back at a time when only 4 or 5 Americans came across the pond. Deafening applause. An outpouring of love and adoration. I've said so many times, but never with more pride, there's only one roar like a Palmer roar, and only one smile like a Palmer smile. We are blessed to have both. Your thoughts as you felt that love pouring out to you?
Well, Jim, the people were unbelievable. I looked up the 18th hole, and I really wanted to look somewhere else. There were so many people, and everything was so, I don't know, it was, as you say, emotional, a thought, reflecting back over the years to 60 and then through the years in the British Open and how supportive everyone has been. It was a great day today, but the thing that probably is most upsetting to me is that it wasn't a very good golf day.
I know back in 1960, you and Winnie and your dad, Deacon, flew for 10 hours and then took the train to St. Andrews. I mean, times have changed. Do you ever get the sense, I remember the speech you gave in Charlotte and the emotion when you talked about your mom and dad. At moments like this, here at St. Andrews and at Oakland.
They're here.
Save on brand mornings like this deserve an eye.
I hope so. I know that he really enjoyed coming here in 60. That was probably the highlight of his life. And certainly that made it the highlight of my life at that point in time. And reflecting back on it is pretty wonderful to think that those things happened. We've been doing this for 35 years, and here we are today. Looking back is pretty wonderful. And you know, everybody says, what about it? What are you going to do now? What are you going to say about it? And the only thing that I can say is I thank God for the game of golf and what it has meant to me. I see the young players out there, and I see them making their moves in this golf tournament. And I remember discussing with them the other day that when I came to the British Open in 1960, I had to qualify, and I had just won the Masters and the Open, and finished second. And I came back the next year, and I had to qualify again. And I won the Open that year, and I came back again and had to qualify again. And of course, that's some of the fun of it. And of course, the players that are playing today just have no idea, and they don't believe that that really happened. Of course, all that has changed, but that's part of the history and part of the fun and enjoyment that I get out of coming here and playing in this tournament. I'm going to miss playing in the British Open simply because it has been a great life for me to be here and to be a part of it. But I hope that I'll be able to enjoy the years coming on and seeing what is continuing to happen.
For the last time, we're going to show you Arnold Palmer, at least in competition, walking over the Swilken Burn here at St. Andrews. What were your thoughts, Arnie?
Well, you know, I'm upset about the fact that it's the last time, but I can't be too upset. It's been so wonderful for me. It's been a great life. The game has offered me, and to see all those people out there enjoying this and to hear their comments, and again, you know, they're yelling, "Thanks for coming, Arnie." You know, I should be thanking them for the opportunity that I have had playing in this golf tournament or playing the game of golf, period. Those people who are thanking me are the ones that made it all possible, and it's fantastic.
You have told me no farewell tour, you're just going to fade away, to which I say, please don't.
I'm not going to retire, Jim. I'm going to just fade.
Even up there with Donna and Dick.
No, and pass on to another situation.
On the upbeat side, you took some money out of Nicklaus's pocket the other day, right? So you're not done.
We had a lot of fun, and no, I'm going to play. I'm not going to indulge myself in major championships now, except maybe the Masters, which I will continue to play for a while.
There's only one king. You're looking at him. Thanks, Arnie.
Thank you, Jim.
Ernie Els, Steve, this putt for his par to stay at 6 under.
And he remains tied with 3 others at the top of the leaderboard.
Els now at the road hole on the tee at 17.
Tee shot really couldn't be any easier than it is right now. The wind at the players' backs. This one is perfect here, right over the corner of the hotel.
So we still have a tie for the lead, but it's early in our live second-round coverage. Stick around. Watson on the rebound. Greg Norman, 2 under par today, 3 under in the championship. Bad back and all after only 6 holes, only 3 shots off the lead. You look at the first page of the leaderboard there. Justin Leonard, 1992 U.S. Amateur Champion. In at 4 under, likewise Payne Stewart. Els at the road hole.
182-yard second shot, and he has pulled this ball to the left. This will not be a good spot over here.
We saw Faldo there yesterday, Davis Love there yesterday. You do play back into the green.
Jacobson, shaky at the start today, Steve.
Well, Peter had a long day yesterday. Didn't get in until after 9 and had late dinner, and so it's kind of tough to gear yourself to golf, but that's sometimes a nice problem to have here, the fact that you're playing in this championship. As Peter's putter goes, so goes the rest of his game.
John Cook on the tee here at 18, 2 under today.
He has missed a ton of putts. Jim, he could have taken this tournament and had it by the throat coming in, and he just has not been able to make anything. He just missed it from about 8 feet at 17 for birdie.
Good iron play, Rossi?
Oh, he's hit some great shots in here. Starting at 13, he missed it from 4 feet, 12 feet, a couple of 15-footers, and then 8 feet.
Back to the tee at 12, Corey Pavin.
Careful, careful. I found one of the pots out here. And that is no good. There's a nest of small bunkers. Ideally, let me show you with the telestrator. You'd like to drive it out over the pots into here, just past these bunkers, he has found, rather, one of the two small pots right here. Els co-leading along with Daly, Faxon, Tamori at 17.
Actually, Ernie has hit the ball far enough left here that's really not too bad. Sometimes if you're just a little shorter than where he is, you have to contend with the knob on the back of the road bunker, but he's got a pretty straightforward shot. He really has hit a couple of very poor iron shots coming in, though, both at 15 and once again here at 17.
It's been interesting to hear the players talk about how difficult these little shots are. They look simple, but the ground is so firm, the grass grows so low. If you have a thick flange sand wedge, then you have problems. So what you need is one without a lot of bounce on it so you can slide the club under the ball. Well, 17 is truly one of the great par fours in all of golf. We have only seen 2 birdies there. Imagine just 2 birdies, and only 23 golfers out of 60 have hit this green in regulation.
Both those birdies, by the way, yesterday in the first round. Nick Price had one, Steve Lowry had the other.
Ernie's going to putt this ball, as you've seen. Good shot there, left it below the hole.
What did we say yesterday, Steve? When in doubt, putt.
You get such tight lies out there, Jim. I mean, these good players can actually yip these chip shots because of the difficulty of the lies.
B.J. Singh. This is out at 10. Second shot.
Earlier this week, player after player was driving this 10th hole as the wind was kind of downwind left to right. Players are nowhere close to this green today.
Breeze blowing at 12. Haven bunkered, second shot.
Well, the ball is sitting in the, I guess what we might call the back portion of this bunker, but it's a very small bunker. I think he's got room there to get the ball up and maybe play this shot. The hole 25 paces back on the green.
Oh, what a tidy shot that is.
Terrific.
Birdie's at 3, another at 10. Corey at 5 under par, 1 off the pace. Played like that at Shinnecock, didn't he?
I think he welcomes adverse conditions. I watched him on the practice tee this morning playing different shots into the wind. Seemed to enjoy that.
Long putt, Jacobson at 17.
Good putt by Peter.
1 under yesterday, but 4 over today. Paired with Tiger Woods. Tiger's currently at +1. Greg Norman, this is just a tremendous story. This is at 7, excuse me. I mean, he was in doubt right up till tee time yesterday. Here he is, 3 under.
Spent the better part of 2 days in the fitness trailer, Monday and Tuesday, trying to get loose.
Tiger Woods at 17.
This young man has played an extraordinary amount of golf this year. He's played as much golf as any golf professional. You count college tournaments, you count his play in professional tournaments. That's not an inexpensive undertaking, I might add.
And every town he goes to, he becomes part of the story. I mean, there's all the local radio, TV, and newspaper interviews, and he's been very courteous, very gracious.
Well, he's been thrust into the limelight early, if you will. They threw him into the deep end. He didn't sink. He did fine. Quite frankly, though, he hasn't played that well. He hasn't played as well as the notoriety people want to attach to his record.
In the air over here. You watch Ernie Els knock the ball down along the ground. Tiger Woods from the same spot will normally throw it way up in the air. He's played nicely today, though.
good to see amateurs decide at Turnberry. 63 holes was the lead in the tournament. Cook second here at 18.
With a putter, huge break to the left.
That's a pretty good play from there. To stay at 6 under at 17. Well, I hate to say it, but a lot of people at +4 watching carefully the play of Mr. Ailes as he makes his way in, Jim.
Brad Faxon 5 under, the day's best round, along with Faldo and Justin Leonard, all with 5 under 67s. A lot of those folks at 18 that have missed Mr. Palmer have now started to swell the crowd here at 18. Watching John Cook to tie for the lead. So for the man whose last win came during the 5-round Las Vegas Invitational, a 2 under par 70. He's in at 5 under par, along with Ben Crenshaw. Ben an even par 72 today, all one off the lead. Pavin, birdie try, back at 12. Steve Melnick takes a bit of a break, and we welcome our ESPN colleague Gary Cope back alongside. There is the scene here, the North Sea, the town of St. Andrews, and we go back to the tee at 18, Gary, with the amateur Tiger Woods.
Got to believe that Tiger Woods has the length to drive this 18th green today. Well, playing slightly with the wind from his right. He certainly didn't leave any behind.
Oh. Go hard.
Now, with a little luck, yes, there it is.
Played at the Masters this year, played at the U.S. Open, played at the Western Open, actually had his best event there.
Well, as Steve Melnick mentioned earlier, Jim, he has played a tremendous amount of golf, a lot of it just recently. Scottish Open last week.
The resurgence of Peter Jacobsen, won twice early in the year, but struggling here 5 over in his second round.
Well, now this is a very important hole for Peter. Birdie here could potentially lock up making the cut. Well, that should gather right in the front part. Will it get up? Will it get up the Valley of Sin? Not quite. 354-yard par 4, Jim. These guys are making it look like a long par 3.
What's really interesting is the way the gallery's reacting here. There was no applause at all for Peter Jacobsen's drive. A mild applause for Tiger Woods that went on the green. In America, they'd be roaring.
Mark, I guess they've probably seen plenty of guys already drive it on here.
They know what's a good shot and what's a great shot.
Since Peter won Kapalua back in '89, you knew you'd hear from Rolf. Check the scores of the field. Mark Brooks, 5 under with a round of 69 today.
Ells's ball will end up right beside Peter Jacobsen's, front edge of the green.
Is that hotel cam we're looking at?
Rusak's, I believe.
Camera at the hotel, camera in the road bunker out at 17.
Is that your window, Jim, that they're using?
I think I've got an inner view. My window looks at the elevator. Over the Spokane Bridge. Tiger Woods. Not many golfers in the field can claim to have been on Primetime Live with Diane Sawyer and Sam Donaldson and also have appeared on the Mike Douglas Show. There aren't too many golfers in the field that remember the Mike Douglas Show. Back at the 8th hole. The only par 3 on the front side. 156 yards today.
And Jim, the pin placement cut just over the gaping bunker that guards the front left portion of this green. And with the hole playing straight downwind, virtually impossible to get this ball anywhere near the hole. Best shots I've seen there today are some 15, 20 feet past the flag. Club of choice for most of the players, 8-iron. Greg Norman capable of hitting the ball as high as anyone and as softly as anyone. Let's see if he can do any good with this difficult pin placement downwind. Seen it player after player, balls going right to the back edge of the green. That'll leave a monstrous putt. And we'll take a look at Greg's swing. Let's see if the back's bothering him at all. He turns the club back beautifully. Perfect position here. Good turn. And as he starts down, lower body should move first. Does. Clears nicely. Stays down with the shot. And on up and through to a beautiful balanced finish position. Jim, no indication there that the back was any factor?
Not at all. But you saw him after that one putt grimacing in pain. All 6'8" of Gordon Sherry. Palmer spent some time watching that big fella hit it, so they had to move the fence back on the driving range.
Well, he is a big man, and he certainly can hit it a long way. I've been very impressed with his swing, though, Jim. Very controlled. Generally, players of this size have some funny movement in their swing, but he certainly doesn't.
Asked him the other day if he was having fun. He laughed. He said, "Of course I'm having fun. I'm an amateur. I'm not playing for any money."
Well, that ball's 25 or 30 yards past the flag.
What do you like about his swing, Gary?
Well, I like the tightness of it, Jim. As I said, no excessive motion. Beautiful setup position. You can see the bend in the knees and bent over from the hips. And as he takes the club back, there's no, the club doesn't run away from his body. It stays in very close. You'll notice the right elbow tucked in beautifully. Ideal position here. Club maybe just ever so slightly laid off at the top, but he starts down with his lower body. Beautiful position here. Head down, arms swinging through to the left, up to a high finish. Very balanced position.
From Britain's great amateur champion to the American amateur champion, Tiger Woods. Gary, they actually had a bet at the Scottish Open, and Gordon Sherry beat Tiger Woods.
Now, Gordon Sherry beat a lot of people at the Scottish Open, Jim, finishing tied for 4th. The best finish by an amateur in recent memory in a European PGA Tour event.
This is a putt that Tiger has to be a little careful with. It's a downhill putt. He's putting it back into the wind, but worry to get it racing past the hole. It could go right back down in the Valley of Sin where Ernie Els and Peter Jacobsen are. The green's not overly quick this week, but still a putt you have to be careful of.
At the par 4 13th, Corey Pavin.
Taking some time to choose a club from the tee here. I think he's taking a 3-wood, although I'm down the fairway.
Judy, it did indeed look like a 3-wood. Of course, the big thing here is to miss the coffin bunkers. Actually, this ball may be too far, is it? Not.
I think it's just up into the hill, but should be okay, Gary.
Jacobsen, eagle opportunity at 18. Could use it.
Putting up through the Valley of Sin. Difficult to judge the speed. Slope some 3 or 4 feet in height. You really must hit it firmly.
Ernie Els, the South African amateur champion at the age of just 16, Mark.
And I think this is a critical stage of the tournament for Ernie because he really had things under control going to 15, hit the poor second shot and 3-putted, and then just missed a short one at 17. So he's got 36 holes ahead of him, but still he'd really like to make a 3 and get out of here now.
Neither Peter Jacobsen's or Ernie Els' efforts that stellar.
Els at 5 under par, Pavin at 5 under, Crenshaw's in at -5 with John Cook and Mark Brooks. Watson 5 under, even par, but only 1 off the lead. Just a moment ago at 18, Jacobsen to knock another stroke off par. So a good way to finish up for the winner of the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am this year and the Buick Invitational of California, Peter Jacobsen. And just a second ago, Eldrick Tiger Woods at 18. Oh, that's a bad way to finish up. Was going along pretty well. Els to go back to 6 under.
Ooh. Oh. Well, that's 2 short putts in a row, 17 and 18. That is certainly not going to leave a good taste in your mouth as you head to the clubhouse and the practice ground later.
Corey Pavin back at 13. Second shot.
Well, the lie was okay from 128 yards, but straight downwind, and the shot was totally blind to Corey.
As so many of them are here at St. Andrews. Corey kind of muttering and talking to himself. A check on the leader. Frank Hannigan's with him.
Tiger, it looks like you're locked to make the cut because of the 10-shot rule. Yes, I am. I think so. First time at St. Andrews this week. What do you make of it? It's different. You know, it's wide open, but then again, as David Faraday has said many times, that you only have 20 yards which to hit at to get a good shot at the green, and which is pretty much true. And these pins today are just unbelievably hard. There are a lot of 4-par holes that are short enough, or depending on wind conditions, that you can drive. Aren't there? How many? On normal days, I could probably drive close to 4 or 5 of them. Which you did today, of course, on 18. Yeah. Now, young man, you've been out now playing in big-time professional golf for the last 3 weeks or so, Western Open, Scottish Open, and here made the cut. Kind of seeing your future. How do you like it? I like it a lot. You know, playing tour is difficult. It's not as glamorous as everyone sees it. That's a hard life, but then again, you know, it's something I enjoy doing, and hopefully I will be doing for a long time. Will you be going back to Stanford? Yes, I am. Good luck to you, Tiger. See you over the weekend. Appreciate it.
What a future in store for that young man. We'll take a little bit of a break here. We're not going away with picture and sound, though. One of the fun things of coming across the pond is to be able to work with the likes of Peter Allis and Peter Thompson, some of our mates over at the BBC. So let's eavesdrop in the sights and sounds as the BBC covers things here at the UK.
We've said a very brown-looking green, and I think if it doesn't rain by Sunday afternoon, we'll be back to the old traditional glassy greens of the old course, which is, of course, what we all want to see. Good putt. Not in, though. He's played 4. Now, Norman has gotten by no means an easy putt there.
Vijay Singh. Up and over at the 12th, and over the left she swings, and well, that's well judged from down there. Did very well to get it 4 feet from the hole.
Now Norman with this putt for a par. Yeah. In recent times, he seems to have gotten on top of his putting. Aims a lot squarer to the line now than he did previous years. But this is a very difficult putt. Oh, that's a stroke dropped. Unlucky, really.
Nothing much from the top here.
His drive was not that far wrong, just a whisker. Now, Peter Ellis, you wouldn't want to have a nervous disposition, would you, to hold that one?
No, unfortunately, Tom, who never used to miss these, 10 years ago, it was unthinkable he'd ever miss. He misses about 7 in 10 now. I think that's about the 4th one in 9 holes he's done today.
I think that was a 6.
Yeah, so he started the day at 6 under, now he's down to 2 under, so 4 strokes dropped. 6 at the very first hole.
Virgin.
1,000.
Paving at the 14th. It's extraordinary amount of practice swings he has. The wind has changed. It was absolutely dead behind at the 14th, hence the iron club and the long chase up the green. If he misses the bunkers and gets a straight bounce, he reckons he can chase it on that ball very low and up the right-hand side into the edge of the spectators. He was trying to hit a low, hooky one to come in off those slopes and chase it down to the flag, but now he's left himself, well, a tricky little pitch. Another 20 or 30 practice swings.
Corey Pavin, 2 under par on the day to this point, 5 under par on the championship, 1 shot off the lead as our live second-round coverage continues here from Scotland.
Corey Pavin hit his second shot on the 14th into the right-hand spectator walkway, and unfortunately the ball is lying on an old divot, so very dusty lie, so contact is going to be a little bit iffy. The shot he's faced with is a shot of about 40-50 yards. There's a big slope between him and the hole. The ball's liable to be kicked to the left, so he's really got to punch it forwards and try to avoid getting a ruffled kick off this slope, but a very difficult prospect.
That was the voice of Beverly Lewis, who's playing in her own major event tomorrow down at Thornton Park. It's Lady Captain's Day. The Elaine Jones Trophy. Wow, going to be thousands there. Thousands here watching how this little wizard is going to conjure up something here to get him close. There's all sorts of slopes and mounds and bumps. And he's lying, as Bev said, tight and bare. But that shouldn't be too much of a problem if he's going to scuttle it along the ground. Oh, out comes the most lofted club, having said that. This needs a precise stroke.
Yeah.
Testing the ground. It's very dry, very dusty. We might see a bit more divot than the practice swing he's taken there. He's going to try and cart it up over the bumps and the slopes and land it on the flat bit. Steady, down the slope behind the pin. Looks as if he's going to be very good at one time. But this is a par 5, so he certainly shouldn't drop a stroke. This is what you mean about St Andrews bunkers, Peter, isn't it? Look at this chap here, perched in there with...
Yes, that's a little pot bunker there with a special name. It's not the Grave, or is it? Maybe it is. No, he wasn't too badly off at that. There you are. After all that making it look difficult, it was very easy. David Frost.
What a great-looking leaderboard we have here in our live second-round coverage. John Daly, whose best finish, a tie for 14th in any British Open, tied for the top spot. Brad Faxon tied for 7th last year at Turnberry. Tomori, the Japanese, with a 4 under 68. He's tied at 6 under. Crenshaw, an even par 72 today. John Cook had a 70. Mark Brooks, a 69. Constantino Rocca, he had a 70. And Ernie Els, out of South Africa, a 68. Mickelson in the hunt, trailing by 3, along with Faldo. Faldo, the last to win, by the way, the British Open and the Masters the same year. Crenshaw trying for that rare double here in 1995. Watson, a double bogey to begin his second round. Sam Torrance has it going early. Bill Glasson, he was 5-6 under, but then struggled on the last couple of holes coming in. Sandy Lyle, the 88 Masters champ, only 4 off the lead. Jose Rivero from Spain in it. Sowers. The last time we checked, 15 of the top 30 names on the list were from America. Jim Gallagher Jr. had that 69 yesterday. He's struggling a bit today. Norman had it to 3 under, and he's backing up. Ken Green in at -1, along with Lee Westwood. Gary Player had that 71 yesterday, had a 73 today. He'll be playing in the British Seniors next week. Tom Wargo, the defending champion, next week, even par after 4. Raymond Floyd, another of the seniors that came over. Raymond was even par after yesterday. 1 over par after his first 7 holes here today in the second round. What a round they had the other day in practice. Ray Floyd, Tom Watson, Jack Nicklaus, and Arnold Palmer. Watson arranged it. Then they had the photo opportunity. Coming over the bridge here at 18. Jeff Maggart off the Hogan. Now the Nike Tour, +1 after 36 holes. The last time we checked, the cut looked like it would be at around +4. Of course, they've got the 10-shot rule in effect. Jumbo Ozaki, he'll be headed to the Senior PGA Tour before too long. 1 over par after 6. Jay Haas, 1 over through 10. Nakajima's in at +1. Bob Charles, former winner of the British Open, 2 over. Scott Simpson played well last week at Kingsmill. Trevino, +3. And McCumber early in his second round. Craig Perry, 3 over after 5. John Morse, +3 after 3. Mike Springer, +4 after 7. Somebody asked Springer the other day about the lack of Americans that came over in recent years, prompting Tom Kite's comment last year, you can't win the British Open if you don't enter. Mike Springer said, who am I not to go across if they want me? Bob Tway, +5. Billy Andre struggling a bit. Zinger's still on the rebound. Still to be decided. Later today on ESPN. Pavin now on the tee out at 14. Par 5 that measures 567 yards. Home of the infamous Beardies, those 4 hidden pot bunkers on the left side of the fairway. Haven, 1 off the lead. More pictures and sound, courtesy of our friends at the BBC.
This is the view from the camera behind the 11th green. And then we just turn a little bit to the left, and there's the 7th flag. So you can see the greens are so huge that when the flags are relatively close together, one set of players has to wait as a matter of courtesy for the others to putt out. So there's a bit of toing and throwing and a bit of waiting. And those of you with us earlier this morning would have seen the sort of retirement of dear old Arnold Palmer as he took the applause up the 18th. What a moment that was.
Now the 13th tee. Looking right across there to Lucas Air Base in the back. Now this is Jimenez from Mexico, is it? Spain. Running into the wispy rough. Some years I've seen that quite thick out there, but it's very sparse. He's chosen the right-hand course.
Paving his second to the 50.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to go any less.
Okay.
5 under.
You'll win.
You need to get to 7 or 8 under to make any significant difference to the amount of players who will be playing the final 36 holes. From the R&A's point of view, every player over 71, they get £4,000.
In the air. Go. Get that down slope. Go. Go.
That's a good result.
David Frost. About 30 yards on because he used the driver. Paven used his fairway.
149 for the hole. No, 8 should be fine.
And tonight.
Up there.
All right, we know what club he's using.
Thanks.
Looking ahead. Wind right to left and just favouring a little bit. Now they've got to, although it's 149 yards, you mustn't think 149 yards, you must think 139. Because you've got to allow for about 10 yards of bounce and run. Well, he's done that just about right. Keep running. Fine shot.
Yeah, crossing slightly healthy.
Now Langer. Big drive there. He's surprising, one of the longest drivers in the whole of golf. Nice big divot was the biggest headed club he's got in the bag, but you see, when you use all that loft, it's very difficult to judge your distance. I don't know why they do it. Sand irons indeed.
Only Gene Saracen had a sand iron when you and I were playing.
Well, he didn't use it from the fairway either.
Well, there's still a lot of golf to be played here today, and there's much to think about before they get into the final 36 holes.
We've been saying during the course of the day that we're in anticipation of a fair old tussle for the amateur medal during the course of this weekend. Gordon Sherry and Stephen Webster prominent this side of the Atlantic, and Tiger Woods getting back into things today with his round of 71, the American amateur champion out in 37. But a very useful inward 9 of 34 with those 2 important birdies. Let's hear from Tiger now with Doogie Donnelly.
The stands have been filled since early this morning here in the second round, and why not? Mr. Palmer toured this hallowed ground for the final time earlier today. As you check the leaderboard, Corey Pavin, the reigning U.S. Open champion, up there just 1 shot off the lead. In fact, 13 of the top 15 names, all members of the PGA Tour.
Flag up in the left back corner of the green. Very difficult to get at. Oh dear, now that is woeful. That is a wide, a double wide. But really, he's missed on the right side, if we can put it that way. He could possibly get away with that. Seems to be pitching back into the wind.
Norman has obviously had a bit of a problem with the tee shot here, and I think that a lot of players have been struggling on this hole. The problem they've got is that the wind's off the left-hand side, and you don't really feel it on the tee because of the stand that's right next to the tee itself. This hole actually reminds me a little bit of the 12th at Augusta, in that they are actually very similar holes. The trouble is always at the front and the back, so they have to get the clubbing just right. Now today, with the wind and the pin position as it is, the players have really been struggling to get the ball somewhere near the hole. Sherry is obviously a very good wind player, but it looks as though he's had a real trouble here. Looked as though he was slightly distracted there somehow.
Those are just two plain rotten shots, though. I mean, Greg Norman hit the ground. It sounded about an inch behind the ball, and that was just a total miscue. But you're allowed to have a few miscues in your life. Let's see if Watson can at least get the ball on the club face. He, too, didn't quite get the right club.
Paven. This is his second attempt. Pretty bold first putt to go by that far. Just that scary length. This for a par.
Safely in. Mostly sunny today. Clouds, of course, can roll in any time, along with some cool weather and the threat of rain. Always bring your umbrella when you come here. Corey Pavin just one shot off the lead. We'll follow him home. This is George Bush. You have that summer home at Kennebunkport, Maine. George plays a lot of golf up there, Mr. Bush does. Mrs. Bush alongside. Great story with Barbara Bush. You know, the Senior PGA Tour wives are doing a quilt that'll be raffled off later this year around the Vantage Championship. And all of the wives have hand-constructed like one square with their husband's autograph. Winnie Palmer's involved, Barbara Nicklaus is involved, and Mrs. Bush has actually done part of that quilt herself with her autograph and Mr. Bush's autograph on it that'll be auctioned off later in the year, and all of the proceeds will go to benefit cancer research, specifically women's breast cancer. They are here enjoying this British Open. Norman, 2 under par, out at the par 311. We'll go back to our friends at the BBC.
Wide and not too handsome. Good firm bump with a wedge, pitching into the wind. No, nowhere near enough, and gets the spin when he doesn't want it, and well, he's getting closer to the green.
Not much. 3 more from there, do you think?
Well, it does make you a bit cross, doesn't it, when you make mistakes like that?
Now at the tee shot finally, all clear at the 16th, and it's Pavin. Just a very short iron there. I think that's no more than a 4 iron. Well, he's giving the principal's nose a lot of respect. And that's all right.
10th, Ian Woosnam's second shot, 3 under. Flag in a little hollow at the front of this green. If you get it right, it'll spin back, will it? Come on, down. No, just a yard or so too far. Nicely played shot. But I think one of the reasons Peter plays so slow is with the wind where it is, everyone's playing onto each other's fairway, aren't they, coming out, and they're in the way of each other all the time.
That's a fact, yes. But although they're wide apart playing strokes out of courtesy, they wait because course, if you hole a putt, there's the most tremendous roar goes up. And that really is what disturbs the other players, the roar. And Norman down there. Now, he's pitching up to a very steep bit of green, and he knows he mustn't go past the cup.
Well, as you heard from Peter, he's absolutely right. He mustn't get past the cup. Although Gordon's hit a good shot there, he's left himself with a very difficult putt. Norman will be trying to leave this just short of the pin, I would think. He's got a decision to make. He's either going to have to try and play it low or try and float one up high and get it to just stick on the bounce. The percentage shot on this hole would probably be, or this shot would be a little low one. Just run it up over the bank and let it just dribble up towards the flag. He's certainly not going to be very happy with that one, and it's looking like double bogey, maybe even treble bogey if he's not careful.
Correct. That was the worst he could have done.
So obviously here in the second round there are a couple of golf's big names that are struggling in the wind. One would be Greg Norman, Tom Watson backing up a bit, John Daly atop the leaderboard along with Brad Faxon. Faxon tied for the day's best round along with Leonard and Faldo. The stands have been packed since early this morning. Arnold Palmer teed off for the final time at 8:35 local time. No rush hour unless you're trying to get in or out of St. Andrews when they have the British Open. Let's go back and follow Greg Norman.
To get back to level. Get back to level. If he misses this, it'll be a 5. This can be firm and straight, more or less straight. A 5, would you believe it? A 6, I beg his pardon. A 6, 3 shots blown away on the hole that from the tee looks, well, apart from the couple of bunkers, a big wide green. One of the best players in the world tries to stay calm. See the wind's getting up, very difficult to keep the camera still, and difficult holes to come. This is our amateur champion.
He's not much better off, is he?
Well, it's a little tickle and hope, isn't it? We've all done that in our life, I suppose.
Well, Corey Pavin faced with very much the same shot that Ben Langer's just played, and he struck in that iron shot and has gone off the back. 176 to the flag. The problem being you have to carry a bunker and stop it in a very shallow green, on a very shallow green, only about 15 yards in depth before you come to a gully. Wind, downwind, right to left. Pavin, a master of shaping shots, and has cut that one into the breeze, but oh, it's going the wall of death act at the back of the green, and it's kept on, but leaves a treacherous putt.
A lot of fire, a lot of heart there in Corey Pavin, a man who's won already twice this year on 2 pretty good tests of golf. Shinnecock and the U.S. Open crown, Riviera and Los Angeles. Twice a Ryder Cup member, again this year. Proud Scots swells every time they have the national championship here at the UK. It's about 5 square miles. Rusak's Hotel there. Tom Morris Golf Shop as we continue to come toward downtown. St. Andrews Woolen Mill. Town that goes all the way back to 800 AD. That big tent in the upper left of your screen, that's the merchandise mart. If they make it in golf, you can find it there and then some. You can buy aftershave and cologne. There's jewelry for sale, crystal. Every golf supplier in the world is there. If you can't find a golf club or a shaft or a glove you like there, you can't find it. Now, these folks, they could care less about John Daly or Brad Faxon or John Cook, any of the others here. I'm not sure what the temperature is out there in the North Sea centigrade, but those folks, they're not feeling a thing. Tide is down low. But we've seen some great golf. like the 1991 PGA champion John Daly, man who graduated off the Nike Tour. He won the Utah Classic back in 1990. This is John Daly earlier today at the par 3 11th hole. This was his birdie putt to go to 5 under. At that point, he was tied for the lead. Then at 12, he actually drove the green over at 6. Now watch this from about 130 feet away. There are 7 double greens here, and if you add up the numbers, they always total up to 18. So from the 6th green all the way over there to 12, he missed his eagle putt. But this from about 7 feet away to take the lead and to go to 6 under par. Daly was alone atop the leaderboard at that point. But how about Brad Faxon? His last win came in '92 in New England and at the International when he won his 4th. This was his 2nd shot at 18, up and through the Valley of Sin. Faxon, and then his birdie putt. This was for a round of 5 under 67 on the day after a 71 yesterday. This would tie him atop the leaderboard with John Daly at 6 under. And how about our friend from Japan, Katsuyoshi Tomori, playing in just his 3rd British Open. Missed the cut in '93, tied for 51st at Turnberry. He goes to 6 under par. Tomori tied for the lead. And the man that won the South African Amateur at the tender age of 16, Ernie Els, won the U.S. Open last year. This was his 2nd shot at 14. Watch it run. Up onto the par 5, 14th into, missed his eagle, but had a tap-in birdie to take the lead at 7 under par. But then Els bogeyed 15 to fall back to 6 under. This was for his par at 17. So a bogey at 15, a bogey at 17, he falls back to -5. That's where Crenshaw is. Ben, yesterday's co-first round leader, an even par 72. He's in at 5 under. Then Crenshaw watched as Pavin made this putt to go to 5 under. Back-to-back winners in Los Angeles in '94 and '95. Won the U.S. Open this year, of course, at Shinnecock. Now, for his par to stay 1 shot off the lead here at 16. Whoops. Just slid it unpast. So a bogey, and he'll fall to 4 under. Pavin's at 4 under with still the road hole and 18 left to go. Payne Stewart had a 4 under 68 today. He's in at -4, along with Justin Leonard, the former U.S. Amateur champion, who had a 5 under 67 today. Nick Faldo also had a 67. He's in at 3 under par. Stories, and we certainly hope you're enjoying our live 2nd round coverage right here. Crenshaw, of course, is trying to become the first since Faldo back in 1990 to win both the Masters and the British Open in the same year. And we've got a lot of golf to go here in our 2nd round. We'll be following Corey Pavin in, as he's got 17 and 18 left to go. We look down at the road hole, and that's the road bunker. Corey Pavin is there, and joining us now here at the top of the hour, in just a couple of seconds, will be Brent Musburger and Steve Melnick. Just a kind of a friendly nudge to join our ABC friends on Saturday and Sunday for live coverage of this, the 124th British Open Championship here from this town of St. Andrews. Earlier today, and you'll see it a little later on in our coverage, we'll take you back, a flashback. Arnold Palmer teed off for the last time. Arnold went off at about 8:35 this morning. He walked up 18. There was not a dry eye in the house, reminiscent of all the emotion and the love and the outpouring at Oakmont in Arnold's final U.S. Open appearance. Featured pairings still to come in the next 2 hours of our live coverage here from across the pond. Corey Pavin, of course, and those times are when they teed off New York time. Corey paired with Bernhard Langer and David Frost. Jim Gallagher, Paul Azinger, and B.J. Singh teed off together at 7:45. And Watson, what a tough beginning. Tom looking to join Harry Vardon as the only 6-time winner of this British Open Championship. Watson began the day in fine fashion. He was tied for the lead, but he started off with a double bogey. Curtis Strange didn't go off until 3:25 local time. Curtis wondered with us yesterday how he was going to spend all day. It's a long wait before you go off at 3:30 or so local time. Again, we mentioned that Steve Melnick and Brent Musburger are back.
Guys, what happened with the bookies over there, Brent?
The numbers are changing hourly. Thank you, Jimmy. And don't forget to leave the cap. Steve rather fancies that look. And here we go now with Corey Pavin. A lot of folks, Saturdays and Sundays, depend on what he's going to do over the next couple of holes now, Steve.
Well, it's a dangerous tee shot for Pavin. Skirted the right-hand side of the out of bounds, but he's left himself an ideal spot to come into the screen. Kind of the full axis of the green. Heard him say, so he hit it fat, and this may not be fun.
Steve, you must now tell us what Bob Rosberg told you about Phil Mickelson's shot from just about the same spot.
Rossi was so overcome, he stopped me. He said, "You're not going to believe it. Phil Mickelson hit it almost the identical spot Corey Pavin did, laid a wedge wide open, carried it up over the bunker, hit it tight, and made par." Said the most phenomenal shot he'd ever seen. Corey Pavin, unless he's got a perfect lie, will have to go around that bunker. There's very little room to pitch over it.
Steve, this has been truly a remarkable day. Fans were with us yesterday. Remember Jack Nicklaus taking a 10 on 14? Well, since then, over the next 26 holes, Jack Nicklaus played 4 under. He stands at 4 over right now, and his weekend depends to a large extent on what Corey Pavin does. Because if Pavin could somehow pick up a couple of shots on par, that would eliminate those who are 4 over. Meanwhile, let's go to David Frost.
Same type of shot as Pavin. They have a little flyer out of the rough. He wants to land the ball short of the green. Well, that's into the famous road hole bunker. There's just no margin of error, and that's actually a camera into the sod wall of that road bunker. How about that for a shot, Brent?
Isn't that something? Now, Gary Player said when they put that camera in there that they softened up the sand a little bit. Now, Steve, do you imagine them doing that?
Oh, they're moving it. There it is, right in there. Right there. That is stacked sod walls, replaced every couple of years.
You know, do you like to go to the corners at Indianapolis? You know how you sit down there and some of the fans, they want to see them skirt with disaster? Well, look at all the Scots who come early in the morning. This is the most crowded bleacher here at the Old Course. They want to be down there on that road.
Are you saying this is Goff's version of a car wreck here?
Second shot for Watson at the 13th.
Second shot of just 100 yards, but not an easy shot. He'll leave it well short. The hole playing straight downwind right now.
Watson started at 5 under, took his second shot and promptly played it into the Swilken Burn. A double bogey 6th, then he went birdie on 2 and 3. But again, it has been the putting problems, the 4-footers that have plagued Tom Watson, who is playing in a trio that includes Greg Norman and a very tall cup of sherry, a fellow by the name of Gordon, who's beating both of them.
Played in the Scottish Open last week. Remember, he's British amateur champion. Won it earlier this spring. Certainly play on the Walker Cup team.
National News is up next. Then at around 12:20.
5th last week at the Scottish Open.
15, second shot for Billy Andrade. He has lost Low New England flat out to his buddy Brad Faxon.
You have an interest in the outcome of Faxon, shall we say, Brent?
Just a slight one, Steve. Can't resist one of my friends when they pop up at 50-1 in the neighborhood.
All right, Billy Andrade now. This is a good hole for Billy. Billy likes to play the ball left to right. The wind is blowing from the right, so he can hold it into the wind. He needs to make one birdie coming into the house to make the cut. He's +5 right now.
Huge Boston Red Sox fan. When he's not been practicing his golf, he's been looking for the international edition of the Herald Tribune so he can find out the latest on his beloved Red Sox. He was at batting practice on Saturday night before he caught a jet that evening. He couldn't believe that the Red Sox were going to play a night game on Saturday, and he couldn't see it. Third shot now for Watson at 13. This is on videotape.
You have so many options when you miss the green here. I think Tom relishes the thought of playing different shots around his green.
And here's Norman.
He got a real good look at Tom Watson's shot, which Tom, of course, played with a putter. Greg's going to do the same thing. This entire group of Norman, Watson, and Sherry made an absolute mess of the loop down at the end of the old course here, the holes that are generally considered the easy holes. This for a birdie he desperately needs.
And Norman took a 6 back on the 11th, and you can see that the wind, Steve, has made it tougher for the fellas with late tee times here today.
Yesterday morning, it blew hardest early, and it laid down yesterday afternoon. Just the opposite today.
Well, now we go back and watch Bernard Langer, who came in here as one of the pre-tournament favorites.
What he's looking at, Brent, is how close he can come to the bunker and not go in it. I mean, this is what we're talking about. From this angle, you don't see the elevation. His ball is back here. Now, what he's going to try to do is to go
yesterday, the defense
back this way, over this way, then back to the flagstick. The only thing he can do is take a putter, try to put it within 10, 12, 15 feet of the hole, hope to get it down for par. We've seen players actually putt the ball into the bunker from there when they try to skirt too close to it. And now at ground level, Brent, you get a better view of what we're talking about. It's actually 4 separate breaks in a shot of about 80 feet.
He has been unable to mount any kind of a charge, hasn't he, Steve? Still at level par. That's how he started the day.
He was among the short betting favorites when the week began. He's got a marvelous record this year in Europe. Now he's going with a wedge. Well, he chose to avoid all that, flew it into the green. Must have had a good life. Pretty good shot.
Yeah, he's never won the British Open Championship. It's one he certainly covets. Now let's see what kind of magic Corey Pavin can come up with.
If he has anything less than a perfect lie, he could look foolish with this. He must have had a pretty good lie. Well played. Well played.
Around the green. There aren't many better than that man right there. U.S. Open champion with a little bit of artistry at the 17th, the road hole. Ian Woosnam. This is his second at the 12th. He's 2 under for the day, 3 under for the championship.
Fierce crosswind. Have to keep the ball under the wind.
Greg Norman finishing up there. So he parred that hole. He has fallen out of contention, and there we are. John Daly, Brad Faxon, and Katsuyoshi Tamori. So Jim Kelly told you about the exhibition tent here at St. Andrews, and now Jim is going to take us on a little tour inside. Langer made his par putt, and now Pavin will attempt to duplicate that. So certainly from Pavin's standpoint, Jack Nicklaus and the others who are at 4 over are safe for the weekend. Vijay Singh or Ian Woosnam might have something to say, but it's beginning to look more and more, Steve, like the 4 overs will play because of the 10-shot rule here at the British Open.
We could have one of the larger cuts in Open Championship history as Pavin has this putt for par. Whoops, got buffeted by the wind. When you're small and slight, you get blown around a little bit.
The winds of St. Andrews are saying, we want the Golden Bear on the weekend. It'd be tough to score in this wind now.
Ooh, what an up and down, short of the road bunker.
That's why he's the U.S. Open champion.
Carries 3 wedges in his bag with good reason, as we just saw.
Thanks, you too, bud. Great one there.
Crowds will grow over the weekend. Steve, I know you're here with your family, your wife, and your two fine sons. I'll bet they're enjoying watching these fellas play.
They leave the room early. I never see them till the day is over.
Here's the Ian Woosnam now. This is for par at 12. Woozy without a bogey today, so he's playing well. Jay Haas, second shot at 15.
Need to play the bounce here. Well, that's exactly what he's done, but he caught a little flyer. He's got to be careful. Watch it just kind of trundle down the back. No, it stayed out. Very nicely done. Tidy player, Jay. Plays within himself. Played a practice round with Arnold Palmer earlier this week. He said it was as big a thrill for him to play a practice round with Arnold as anything about the championship.
You bet. The Wake Forest connection. Paul Azinger is on the 16th here. Rossi, how's he doing?
Well, Paul's had a tough day. He got off to kind of a bad start and then birdied 13 and 14 and kind of got back where he had a chance to make the cut, and then he three-putted 15. Trying to make par here at 16, and he's 5 over, though, and if he can get this one in and then par the road hole, he could drive it on 18 today. So he's got a chance to make the cut. That'd be nice for Paul.
First time he came over for the British Open, he had a chance to win. Bogeyed the last 2 holes to finish second. Nicely done.
On the tee at 18 is Corey Pavin.
We've seen many drive the green today, but Pavin does not have the length to get there. As a courtesy, all players playing this afternoon, because it's playing directly downwind, they're waiting for the players up ahead to leave before they play their tee shots.
Is it Biggie? Get up there, baby.
Well, that's going to get pretty close.
Gives you an idea.
Look at this. Whoa.
And Corey Pavin. This is the kind of wind that Pavin loves.
He doesn't drive many par fours, man.
Look at him. You know, folks, if you don't think the equipment hasn't changed over the years, consider the fact that in the old days, Jack Nicklaus stood alone as the man who every day could come here and drive this green. Now, Corey Pavin can reach it, although admittedly, there's a stiff breeze behind it. But the wind blew in those days, too, you know. Bernard Longer is next. I hope Frank Hannigan is taking notes.
Rest assured he is.
Now a little giddy up here for Langer.
Well, that's right at it. That's right at it.
Stay up. Oh, it would have been spectacular. Yes. How sweet that one is. Second shot for Norman at the 14th.
If you want to know just how hard the wind is blowing, he's got an iron from 260 yards. Put the ball in the perfect spot of the fairway, right-hand side, good angle. He's going to be over where Tiger Woods was. That putt will be nearly 150 feet there.
Mark, we've been talking about the cut. Right now, we have a total of 121 players at 4 over or better. 64 of them are in the clubhouse, watching as the rest of the windy afternoon unfolds. Here's Watson.
He drove the ball well left, doesn't have nearly as good an angle as Greg did, playing out of the rough.
Yeah. Oh, it's not going to go enough left.
But he didn't think it was going to go enough left, and now it's about 30 yards left of the flag stick. Show you some of the bounces you can get here.
Jay Haas at 15 for birdie.
One of the few simple birdie putts you'll find all afternoon.
Go. Go. Go.
Well, the first one in at 6 under was Brad Faxon. He would go out with Tamori of Japan as it now stands in tomorrow's third round. Part of the charm of coming to a British Open at St. Andrews is the town itself. It is one of the most charming you ever want to visit. And great stops if you enjoy golf lore. Here's the British Golf Museum across the street from the Royal and Ancient Clubhouse. It's just one great sight after another, Steve. Well, David Frost, he was in that trio, remember, that just teed off, a little bit short of the green. The fellas, though, get their putters out when they're down here.
Hey, he couldn't reach. He was only 6 to 8 yards off there. You know, there's such an interesting mix of holes here. Typically, in an American course, you'd have 10 par 4s, 4 5s, and 4 3s. Here you have 14 par 4s and only 2 5s and 2 3s.
5:30 Scottish summertime. There's the big clock on the rear of the Royal and Ancient Clubhouse, and when you play here, that's when you know it's your tee time, and you better get on over there to the starters booth and begin.
It's so difficult to play here, you must get, as they say, into the ballot and hope that your name is picked to play.
Unless you know somebody like Frank Hannigan, who's a member of the R&A and can get you a preferred tee time.
But you pay either way.
Frank's going to love me by the time he hears all of this.
You know, an interesting sidebar, too. Now, we'll get back to it in a minute.
Third shot for Gordon Sherry, 14th.
His second went well through the green. Now he's pitching it back up the hill into the wind. Excellent shot there.
Now this would be Langer if he could run this in. Eagle 2. Jim Gallagher did just that from that spot back in the first round.
Climbs the hill of about 4 to 4.5 feet and come up well short. Well, what I started to say moments ago, the course here is owned not by the R&A, but by the town of St. Andrews, and it is actually protected by an act of Parliament. So, if you think the Scots don't take their golf seriously, I would suggest you think again.
Here's the overview of St. Andrews as we pan across to the 18th green. Over to the left is the first tee, of course, and that grandstand. Those are season ticket holders, and as Peter Alice said, they don't bother to show up until the last half hour, watch the last putt, go get their Rolls Royces and go home.
Now this is a putt for Eagle. Corey Pavin. This will move him to 6 under. You don't see Corey Pavin having many Eagle putts. Breaks from left to right early and then straightens out at the end.
Needs that for a 70 and 5 under for the championship.
You know, Brent, we saw all of the good low scoring this morning, but very little this afternoon. Faxon out with 67 early. Justin Leonard out 67 early.
Now Watson, this for eagle at 14.
Very tough putt to judge the speed. Straight downwind, but very severely up the hill at first. Judged it nicely.
Got it within that comfort zone.
Barely.
David Frost at 18 for birdie.
Another putt that looks like it breaks a lot from left to right, and we've seen ball after ball be overread on the left side.
Norman for birdie.
He is just letting shot after shot slip away now. 3 putts there, albeit from 125 feet.
The triple at the par 3 11th, his undoing.
He certainly hasn't given up, trying just as hard as ever on every shot, but it is really tough out here right now.
18 and Langer for birdie.
He's the European Tour's version of Cal Ripken. Never misses a cut, always there, always in the money.
So Langer at 72, 71, 143, and hope to start this championship off a little bit better than that, but still some time left for him as he shakes hands with his 2 playing partners.
We've got a good view of Faven's putt here. It's amazing how much he lifts the putter up off the ground with these short strokes. It's almost like he hits down on it. Well, they're waiting. I see there's a piece of trash that's blowing there. It went across the front of the green. Most people want to keep the putter low on the backswing. Not so with Corey's putting stroke.
For a 70.
Well, being buffeted again. He backed off on 17. Us full-figured fellows don't have that problem in the wind, Brent. Nice 2-putt birdie.
Leaves him at 5 under for the championship. Just 1 off the lead, and he'll be a factor. Remember, he shot 70 in some very difficult weather conditions here this afternoon in the second round. 67, the low score of the day. Brad Faxon, John Daly, and Justin Leonard.
Well, we talked about Corey picking up the putter. Here's a bird's eye view here. See, he kind of lifted up there and just kind of chopped down on it. That putter's high off the ground for such a short putt. Just kind of see the putter kind of descending there. That's an unusual putting stroke.
Vijay Singh on the tee at 17, Rossi.
Well, hole's playing as easy as it's going to play. It's almost straight downwind today. It's not as hard a driving hole as when the wind's out of the right.
That looks way left.
That's not way left. It's in the left-hand rough, but just in the left-hand rough.
It looks like could be in some deep hay over there. We'll see what unfolds here the rest of the way with Singh as we see the situation right now. We begin to wind down the second round here. Nick Faldo, we mentioned him. He shot a fine 67 today, played himself very much back into contention at St. Andrews.
In 1990, here at St. Andrews, Nick Faldo ended his first round in dramatic fashion. An eagle at the 18th for Faldo. Day 2, and Greg Norman answered. That set up a dramatic third-round pairing with Norman and Faldo in the lead. But where Faldo's putter was hot, indeed, Norman's was not. Faldo shot a 67 to Norman's 76, and then cruised to victory on Sunday with a total of 18 under par.
I would have found this ball. It's only about 10 yards off the fairway, but when you miss here at the British Open, it's better to miss way wild. If you miss just a little, the water that they put on the fairways occasionally seeps down into that rough, and this is a murderous lie. This is the worst lie I think I've seen all year, and that includes all the tournaments in America or anything. This is an awful lie. He is going to have trouble finding the fairway playing safe.
Are you saying he's not worried about a yardage to the front of the green?
No, I don't think so. If he is, he's a better man than I am, or that I know.
If you're not careful in grass this deep, you can actually hurt yourself. You need to play it almost like a blast shot, unless he thinks he can get the club through it. As Rossi said, it's so deep you could barely find it.
Paul. I'm just going to go. I don't think I'm going to reach there, you know. Hey? I'm going to lay up.
I think I heard him say he's going to lay up.
He's going to go ahead and play right now. Pretty big swing to lay up, isn't it? The ball only went about 40 yards, but he got it in.
Of course, but that's okay. I can handle that.
How about airports and restaurants and that kind of thing?
Yeah, a few people, a few more people notice me, I guess. But the nice thing about the golf fans, they're very cordial and very nice and understanding of, when I'm with my family, it's family time. They're very, very good fans.
Now, here you are after 2 rounds at St. Andrews, having won the U.S. Open. You're a shot off the lead. History question. Who was the last guy to win the U.S. and the British Open in the same year? Last one.
Tom Watson. That's an easy one there.
You're strong. Well, you're poised, aren't you? But, of course, it's a tight tournament, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of people up on the leaderboard. There's 3 6s and a whole bunch of 5s at the moment. And, the way St. Andrews is playing right now, anything can happen. And someone could jump out and shoot a good score, or it could just stay tight like this for the rest of the way.
Corey, you played a lot of good shots, but one in particular that really got our attention was your third shot to 17. We're going to cue that up on tape now, and perhaps you can describe it for us.
Yeah, it was a tough shot. I had a very bare lie, and I just needed to carry the bunker and hopefully have it stop. I had a real good shot. I clipped it real nicely, and there's always a danger of hitting it thin and going on the road, or hitting it fat and going in the bunker. There's a lot of strange thoughts that go through your head.
Even you think those bad thoughts?
Yeah, they do enter there once in a while, but I try to stave them off.
Okay, you are certainly not a slow player by any means, but I want to tell you, it took you 5 hours and 25 minutes today. Why is that?
Well, it was just a long time. The wind was blowing; it made it difficult. We had nowhere to go, but the wind was blowing hard, and when you share the greens, you have to wait for other players to putt on the other green, and it just takes a long time. But I think the wind was the biggest factor today.
Now we're going to make you big and proud, because we're going to show this mighty might drive the 18th green. Here you go. Give us that one.
Good. Oh, this is great. Now you can't call me a short hitter anymore. I felt like I could reach the green if I just killed one, and I just caught it perfect. And there's a couple little mounds out there, and it looked like I carried just one of them, and it hit the downslope and took off and went up onto the green. And it's like 350 yards, I guess, to where I hit it. And nobody can call me a short hitter anymore.
Well, it was a driver. You didn't hit a three-wood.
Well, I'll admit it was a driver.
You having a good time this week?
Yeah, it's nice. I love coming over here and playing golf. St. Andrews is a wonderful place to come play, and the weather's been wonderful. Even it's been a little windy, but that's expected here. But the sun's been shining, which is fantastic.
Good. Sun's been shining at you now for a long time. Have a good weekend, Corey. Thanks.
Thanks, Frank.
Back.
All right, Frank. Well done. Corey Pavin will be a factor over the next 2 days, the way it looks now. You can see that Daly, Faxon, and Tamari of Japan all at 6 under. They are tied. Els, Pavin, Crenshaw, who was done earlier today. He also is only one back, the Masters champion. Now, third shot for Singh at 17, Rossi.
There's a good angle coming up the whole length of the green. Fairly easy shot.
So there we are. And now it appears certain that the Golden Bear, Jack Nicklaus, has battled back to make the cut at St. Andrews. Second round of the British Open here at St. Andrews. The wind has been up throughout much of the afternoon, and as a result, the scores have gone up. 67, the low round of the day, and it was turned in by 3 golfers, Brad Faxon, John Daly, and Justin Leonard, who stands at 4 under through 2 rounds, just 2 shots off the lead here at the Old Course, where it all began hundreds and hundreds of years ago. You think the equipment hasn't changed since then, folks? And there are the shops hard by the 18th green fairway. Out to the 17th, and here's the third for Azinger, Rossi.
Not a very good lie, and as hard a shot as you're ever going to see. Watch this one.
Oh! Wonderful.
Unbelievable. You see, he hit it really hard into the bank, had the spin on it. That one he went in like a little putt.
That gets Paul Azinger to 4, and now he too, if he doesn't stumble, and that is the only birdie at 17 today. Now we go to VJ Rossi, and this for par.
This would be a tremendous par here. If he could make this one, this would give him a chance to birdie the last hole to get within 1 shot. I think there was one birdie earlier today that when I was watching here at 17, somebody knocked it stiff that shot 68 early in the day. But there are not many birdies at this hole.
Sherry at 15. And what a championship he's having here in Scotland. The British amateur champion. Playing out there with Tom Watson, Greg Norman, 2 of his idols. Check some of the American scores now. We mentioned, of course, Daly and Faxon. Corey Pavin just finishing up. Ben Crenshaw earlier today. He'll start 1 back of the lead. John Cook with a solid championship. Mark Brooks likewise. Bill Glasson, he was tied for the lead at 6 under when he came to the road hole. He took it 8. Mark Calcavecchia, the last American to win the British Open Championship, and he is at 1 under. These fellows are all going to play. Wonderful championship for one of the seniors, Tom Wargo, who won the British Senior Open to qualify for this a year ago. Peter Jacobson birdied 18. He'll play. And Paul Azinger right on 4 over right now. These fellas don't figure to be here. Craig Stadler will have to do much better. The 18th tee, Vijay Singh drove it yesterday. Azinger coming off that birdie. We have had a total in the 2 days of 5 birdies on the 17th. The over-under number for the championship was 17.
How do you know that?
Well, it's just one of those numbers that sticks in my head, Steve. That
Which way did you go?
I like the under. Let's go to Curtis Strange. Of course, he was one of our broadcasters yesterday, at late tee time today. What a beautiful view. Isn't that gorgeous of that hole? Look at the treachery that waits right there in front. If you come up a little short, wind blowing hard right to left for this shot.
You know, it's such a simple par 3, except when they put this flag stick right behind that deep putt bunker.
Here's a man, folks, this is hard to believe, that he shot a 62 on this course. Let's see how Curtis now rides the wind.
As you can see, he's 2 over par in his round today. There's simply no low scores to be had this afternoon.
This is the hole where Gordon Sherry had a hole-in-one at a practice round when he was with Jack Nicklaus. And remember when we were talking about the 62, Curtis couldn't murder Stacy Forbes.
Well, there have only been 2 birdies on this hole all day long. Curtis is starting it well out to the right.
Shape that shot, Steve. That was wonderful.
Watch the bounce. That's the key. They're applauding for a shot that's 30 feet past the flagstick.
Well, let's see now if Paul can ride the wind here at the 18th.
Looking good.
Got a chance. Get up that hill now. Beautiful. That's about where Tiger Woods was. Should be no problem for VJ. Well, he told me he enjoyed playing on the PGA Tour as a regular this year. I mean, here's a golfer who really stays busy.
He is known among his fellow players as a person who hits more practice balls than any single player.
A little kick to the left, didn't it?
He got a bad hop, Brent.
But up it goes. It's that kind of day at the British Open. All smiles if they drive the green here at the par 4 finishing hole. The bunker look at Billy Andrade, bunkered at the road hole 17, and duck. You know, seeing that reminds us of the remarkable story that Jack Nicklaus has authored here the last couple of days. I don't think there was anyone watching who believed that Jack Nicklaus had a chance to make the cut following the 10 he took at 14, the par 5. Now, he's about 100 yards away right here, and this was Jack's 3rd on the 5, and now he's really in trouble, and it probably one of the few times in history that you'll ever see Jack throw a club like that, though, as one of the Scots wrote in the paper this morning, well, it's the fastest way to get the club back into the caddy's hands. And now Jack's problems were just beginning.
Well, his first mistake was trying to be aggressive with his 3rd shot from the bunker rather than play safe.
He took a 10 on the par 5. Since then, he has not bogeyed a hole. And let's just show you the character of this man. Why he's been as great as he has been through the years. There at 17, that for an up and down. He's been 4 under since he took the 10. He stands at 4 over for the championship, and he'll be playing on Saturday and Sunday. Tells you an awful lot about Jack Nicklaus.
He makes par at 14 yesterday. He's 1 under for the championship.
Isn't that amazing? Now we go up to the 18th, and there we can see from the side.
Well, that was
Jim Gallagher had done it once before. He had eagled it from there. You know, when I took a look at it, Steve, I thought crossed my mind, is that a videotape from yesterday? I really had to hesitate a second.
He putted in from the fairway yesterday for an eagle. Finished from 69.
Jimmy, of course, his
championship since 1983. That was Calcavecchi at Troon in 89.
Now we'll see if Azinger could finish up with the birdie. Well, that will leave him at 4 over. And because of the 10-shot rule, he'll be playing Saturday and Sunday. Excuse me, let me check that. Is that a 4-putt? Let me...
Remember, he putted short. Remember, his approach putt was short. And he putted past and lipped out. That's 5. That's probably to miss the cut.
Oh, wow. What a shame. After driving the green.
After holding out from behind the road hole for 3, and gives it all back at 18. Oh, what a long night this will be for you.
Yeah. So a sad turn of events for one of the most popular players, Paul Azinger. Lee Trevino in the waiting for 17 to get clear, and then Bill Davis out of the UK is the 3rd member of that trio. He's playing with Jay Haas and Lee. Billy Andrade is with Brett Ogle and Miguel Jimenez, Spain. So the way this eccentric course is laid, you can do a lot of socializing, folks. You see everybody going and coming, crisscrossing, and whatever you want to do. It's the old course at St. Andrews. Tomari of Japan and Brad Faxon. And so we're going to turn it back to our colleague Jim Kelly. Jim, it's been a delight having you here at the British Open.
It has been a big pleasure for me. First time here at St. Andrews, and to be here on Arnold Palmer's final walk-up 18th was truly special. From Kennebunkport, Maine, Mr. and Mrs. Bush, Tom Watson, British Amateur Champion, Mr. Norman, and another former British Open winner right here, Leabuck Trevino. Should do well coming in here. He's always been one of the game's better wind players. Now, Musk, before you go, I've got to tell you, the odds on Big Mr. Sherry went from 500 to 1 down to about 200 to 1. And the big Brit said, you know, at that price, I might have a wee flutter myself. A wee flutter.
Well, listen, good luck to you, John Daly, at 66 to 1, Jimmy.
And good luck to you and Mr. Faxon. I told you I'd give you half a Daly for half a Faxon.
And you know, I didn't bite.
Yep. Former Masters champion Ian Woosnam for his par.
Jim, I don't...
Former British Open champion Bob Charles, +4. Back at 13 in the wind. Sam Torrance, 3rd shot after finding one of those dreaded pot bunkers. Just birdied 12, Gary, to get it to 3 under.
Pin today at 13 is in the right-hand portion of the green, front right. Not easy to get to, especially playing downwind. And there you see exactly what we're talking about. Ball landing right on the front of the green, still racing some 35 or 40 feet past the hole. Sam, of course, won the Irish Open just a couple of weeks ago in a 3-man playoff. Jim, we've touched on. He always seems to play well in Ryder Cup years, and this has been no exception.
Yeah, it was funny talking to Corey Pavin the other day about the past European dominance until this year, with Crenshaw capturing Augusta and with Corey, of course, winning at Shinnecock. And he said, you know, forget all about that when you come over here to the British Open. He doesn't look at it as Ryder Cup competition or President's Cup competition, if you will. He looks at it totally as him against the field, whether they're from Spain or Italy or Scotland or England, it doesn't matter. What a view inside there. If you're having a little spot of tea in the afternoon, a little scone perhaps, that's Rusak's Hotel, and some lucky folks actually look out right there over the 18th. Balcony is full up. You saw Mr. and Mrs. Bush were up on the balcony earlier there. At 13, Peter Sr. Boy, you get behind or in those bunkers, and there's not much of a view.
No, you're absolutely blind, but everybody knows where to go if they can put it there. That's the main problem. It's a great-looking shot here. What a golf shot this is. Getting better all the time.
Rossi, who was the best wind player you ever watched?
Well, I always thought Trevino was very, very good. Of course, in the early, Hogan was as good as anybody that ever played the game, I think. Peter Thompson, wonderful too. Peter Thompson could really handle the wind. He was so hard to beat over here. You know, he was almost unbeatable there for a little while.
What a great scene it is. Still bright daylight over here. Back home, well, it's a little after 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast. Just a little bit after 6 o'clock here in Scotland. Stick around. Currently now, +3. Had 2 birdies in a row. 17, Norman.
Great look now from behind Greg Norman. You can see aiming right down the edge of the hotel. Wind from right to left. Could very well find the rough on the left-hand side, and does. Does appear to be sitting up reasonably well, but of course that will not leave a good angle to play into the green.
That 5 under 67 yesterday. Watson won at Carnoustie, won at Turnberry, won at Muirfield and Royal Troon, trying to complete the set here at St. Andrews before he can't play any longer. Still got a ways to go, though.
And we'll take a look now at the infamous road hole, the 17th. Here's the teeing area back here, and with today's wind conditions across this direction, very hard from right to left, players are literally having to go right over the corner of the old railroad shed and right along the edge of the hotel, just trying to get the ball anywhere into this area, keeping it out of the rough over here on the left, which leaves the very difficult second shot into the narrow angled green from right to left with the road right behind.
And, of course, Brent earlier showed you that incredible shot by Jack Nicklaus yesterday from the road bunker to get up and down and salvage his par. Curtis Strange on the tee back at 10.
10th hole, a par 4 hole of 340 some odd yards that early in the week, with the wind helping from right to left, a lot of the players were driving the green. Now, of course, the wind has switched and is into the players from left to right. Curtis with an iron off the tee.
David Duval. We saw him at the Nike Tour Championship at Pumpkin Ridge in Portland, Oregon last year.
T-ball hit it out of bounds. That was actually a pretty good shot from where he had it. If he'd have been a little careless there, he could have actually putted that ball right into the road bunker.
Probably a lock for Rookie of the Year on the PGA Tour, don't you think, Coco?
I would certainly hope so, Jim. He's already set a record for earnings won by a rookie, over $700,000.
Raymond Floyd for his par. Good stretch for Raymond here. He's had 3 birdies in a row.
And well done. And Jim, I'd have to say our seniors from the Senior PGA Tour in the States are doing pretty nicely. Raymond going along well. Nicklaus with a chance to make the cut. Bob Charles should also. Tom Wargo, if he continues on at the same pace that he's going, he would make the cut. That's pretty impressive.
Wisdom now for his birdie. Judy out at 16.
Well, hit an iron from the tee. Came in from the left side, which is the best side, the way the wind's blowing from right to left here and helping, but did not quite hit enough club. Has to come over a big steep shelf in the green. It's a good, I imagine 3 feet rise in the green that's somewhere 8 to 10 feet in front of Ian. Good 35 feet or so. Everyone that's played this afternoon has really struggled on the greens. The wind has made it very difficult.
Judy, they also seem to be picking up some speed, too.
Picking up speed. No one seems to be able to be real stable over putts.
A moment ago, Watson second, out of the heavy gunk at 17.
Couldn't get it. That's reminiscent of what we saw at Shinnecock just a few weeks ago at the U.S. Open Championship.
Only moved it a few feet, Gare.
Well, like I say, I was there at Shinnecock, and I had a couple that I only moved a few feet to out of that long fescue. It's obviously not the same type of grass, but certainly producing. Just incredible. Now taking the finishing groups close to 5.5 hours to play. A moment ago, we had 2 groups at the 18th tee and on the 17th tee.
Everybody's waiting, including Watson, who's trying to figure out what went wrong today after yesterday's 5 under. Today +3 and struggling at the road hole. Day and a half since John Daly finished up with that 1 under par 71. Faxon tied for the day's best round, 5 under 67. Also with a 67 today, Justin Leonard and Nick Faldo. Woosnam now at 16 for his par.
That's 2-3 putts in a row now for Ian Woosnam.
No question that the greens are getting faster with the wind and the sun.
Come here. Well, very few players hit putts past the hole, but we're seeing plenty of it today.
Barry Lane second, back at 10.
Barry has played well to the right off the tee, so he's playing back into the wind. It should help somewhat control the distance, but
even par 72 yesterday, birdied 1, doubled 7. Watson's saga continues at 17.
This lie is slightly better than the one he had a moment ago. Still be an awfully good shot to get it on the green. This hole was his undoing in 1984, and looks like it could well be again.
Yeah, that's not going to be pleasant there. Just barely getting into the bunker. That'll leave him a downhill lie, which will be very difficult to get the ball up in the air quickly enough.
Greg Norman drove the ball just as far left as Tom Watson did, but he hit it a little further and got into a pretty bare spot, so he's got a terrific lie. And I'll bet if you ask Greg Norman when he teed off if he thought he could be 2 over par to this point for the day and still be in the championship, he would have laughed at you. But he still is only 1 over. Conditions have really gotten tough out here now. From about 185 yards. Well, there's some golf left to be played for these two here.
Yeah, at least Greg's ball's gotten up into the middle of the bunker and has a pretty flat lie. Should be a somewhat easier shot than Tom's.
I'll tell you something, guys. By the end of this hole, this man, 21 years of age, the British amateur champion, will be beating two men who have collected 8 British Open crowns between them.
And he's clearly played the best of the 3, Jim.
Well, he has up until now, Mark. He's going to be really faced with a tough shot. Almost no way to go right at the flag.
Curtis Strange, meanwhile, back at 10.
Definitely a poor second for Curtis to miss the green from in the fairway. That needs to hang on now. That green slopes away just right about there. Ball could easily gather speed. All right.
Played so well last week at Kingsmill on his home turf. Solved his putting problems on Saturday, but then on Sunday, after being tied for the lead after the first 7 holes, the driver deserted him. Underman. All right, Gary, you're the expert. How do you play this one?
Very carefully.
I don't think he can play this shot at the hole, Gary. I really don't. It's right on the downslope in the front part of the bunker. Difficulty is going to be to get the club on it cleanly.
You can see from the camera within the face of the bunker that he is now aiming well away from the hole.
I think even if he clears the lip here, though, there's a good chance it'll end up on the road. Boy, that's a nice shot. All he could do there.
This hole did Tom Watson in a couple of years ago. He lost out to Seve.
Let's take a slow motion look here. Now you'll notice, look at the club face. It is wide open, just as open as it can possibly be. And as Tom takes the club back, it's very steep. It'll come up very quickly. And from there, he will simply drag the club through, making sure that he keeps the club face open. You can see the ball pop up very quickly, and as Mark Rolfing said, an excellent shot just to keep it on the green.
Now Norman, Mark.
He's got a much better lie. Clearly can spin this ball.
You know, Mark, so far there have been 16 players in the bunker at 17 today, and half have gotten up and down for par.
Well, it really isn't that tough a shot if you have the kind of lie that Greg Norman had, but Watson's was really difficult.
The BBC put a camera into the bunker there at 17. You heard Gary Player allude to the fact that maybe they softened up the sand a little bit. This is how it looked. Camera's a little bit similar to the one we had on the boats for the America's Cup. You can pan, you can tilt, go up and down. There it is. And of course, those are stacks of sod alongside. Where are the wires? Where's the controls?
Well, some 50 or 60 yards back up the fairway into the left rough.
You're eating live.
And there's the shot that the camera provides. Really gives you a great perspective, doesn't it, Jim, of just how high and straight that wall is on the face of the bunker.
Bunker cam.
Bunker cam. I like it.
Big strapping Gordon Sherry now to salvage his par and stay at -2.
I've really been impressed with the patience Gordon Sherry has shown a number of times today on some of these holes on the backside. Tom Watson and Greg Norman were blasting drivers, and Gordon hit irons. A couple of times he was 100 yards behind him in the fairway, but he's going to be within 4 or 5 shots of the lead when this day's over, even if he bogeys this hole.
Mark, in talking to him earlier in the week, he was saying he has played a number of rounds of golf here at St. Andrews. Being from Scotland, I wonder if that maybe didn't help influence some of his decisions today. Oh, what a great putt.
That's the biggest throw of the day here at 17, I think, almost. They love him. You know, if he can birdie this 18th hole now, clearly he can drive it on the green, he'd be within 3.
I think his biggest concern, Mark, will be don't drive it over the green. Boy, what a reaction.
He saw that videotape of Faldo a couple of years ago. This is for a 6, Mark.
Well, any putt for a 6 is not a fun one. Watson 5 over par for the